Sasha, do you think English language is essential for us?
For me, yes, because English is of crucial communication. Hi, Miss Ashley. Do you think English language is essential for us? Do you think English language is essential for us?
Yes, English language is essential for us, especially in global communication, business, and education. Yes.
Is there an advantage of colonization of Americans to the Philippines?
Yes. Americans introduced us education system. Is there an advantage of colonization of Americans to the Philippines? Yes, because American colonization introduced us education. Is there an advantage of colonization of Americans to the Philippines?
Yes, there is an advantage because Americans, they introduce education to us.
The Treaty of Paris between the United States of America and the Kingdom of Spain was signed by Spain and the United States on December 10, 1898. It ended the Spanish-American War with the condition of granting the possession of Cuba, Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines to the United States. It also required that the United States pay 20 million US dollars in recompense to the Spanish government. This contract signaled the end of Spanish colonization and the rise of American imperialism in the Pacific theater, as well as the role of the United States as world power.
In early days of American colonial period, the Philippine Commission sent teachers from the United States to the Philippines with the purpose of establishing an educational system. Named after the ship that transported them, the United States Army Transport Thomas. The powerful Thomasite expanded to become a powerful force in the colonial project. About 600 Thomasites embarked on the journey to the Philippines, both men and women from all across the country, and all with different educational backgrounds.
Spirit of orientation. By 1900, English came to be used as a medium of instruction in the public schools. From the American forces were recruited the first teachers of English. By 1908, the primary and intermediate grades were using English. Writers of this period were still adjusting to the new form freedom after the paralyzing effect of the repression of thought in the streets under the Spanish regime. They were adjusting the idea of democracy to the new sociology, to the English language, and to the standards of the English literary style. Writers had to learn direct expression as conditioned by direct thinking. They had to learn that sentence construction, sounds in speech in English were not the same as in the vernacular.
Period of apprenticeship and emergence are two periods under American colonization of the Philippines. It showed the beginning of how Filipinos started writing English stories, news, essay, poems, and etc. During the period of apprenticeship, Filipinos were still newbies or learners of the English language. Filipinos only know two languages before the Americans came Filipino and Spanish. They are taught by Thomasite in free public school. The literary writers learn writing stories, essay, poems, and etc. in English by imitating or copying the style of Americans in writing and literature.
Period of experimentation. The years 1920 to 1940 saw the emergence of a significant trend in Philippine literature in English. Jose M. Hernandez describes this period as a time of self-discovery and of rapid growth. Hernandez proceeds by enumerating the qualities of the period. First, the writers consciously and purposefully write to create a national literature. Second, the writers had gained full control of the English language and could successfully manipulate it as a literary medium. Third, experimentation with different literary forms and techniques and moods was the fashion.
The war dampened the literary enthusiasm of the preceding period. The writing of this period was largely journalistic, and the literary output was negligible for two reasons. First, it was insincere, and second, there was very little opportunity for publication. This period saw the rise of Carlos P. Romulo, the first Filipino writer and journalist to win international recognition. He won the Pulitzer Prize, and his I Saw the Fall of the Philippines, I Saw the Philippine Rise, and Mother America became the bestseller.
Post-war period. The post-war period in Philippines literature began in 1945 after Japan surrendered to the US and lasted until 1970. This was a transitional time as Filipino writers moved from the American style to a modern style and expressed themselves more confidently in English in their native literature. During the post-war period, Filipino writers got their inspiration from American teachers and were able to learn their techniques, which also helped in mastering the English language. Modern period. In this period, Filipino writers saw a return to using native languages, like Tagalog in literary works, rather than foreign languages, imposed by successive occupiers like Spain, the US, and Japan.
Martial law. Ferdinand Marcos declared martial law in September 1972. During martial law period in the Philippines under President Marcos, literature had common themes because the government controlled the media. Writers who opposed the government faced imprisonment and torture. Stories reflected the very people's real opposing a regime. If discovered, writers these being captured and tortured.
Contemporary Philippine literature showcases a diverse array of works inspired by folktales, socio-political stories, and real-life experiences. The 21st century has seen the rise of new literary genres in the Philippines, including creative nonfiction, mobile contextual, and speculative fiction. Contemporary Philippine literature offers a glimpse into the diverse experiences and perspectives of Philippine authors, providing a platform for cultural expression and exploration.
The period of reorientation, 1898 to 1910. English is a literary vehicle came with the American occupation on August 13, 1898. By 1900s, English came to use as a medium instruction in the public school. From American forces recruited the first teachers of English. By 1908, the primary intermediate grades were using English. Period of invitation, 1910 to 1924. By 1919, the UP College Folio published the literary composition, the first Filipino writers in English. They were pioneers in short story writing.
Post-war reorientation 1945. Writers during the post-war years were inspired by American school and college teachers and were able to borrow their techniques, achieving greater mastery in English language. Filipino writers the post-war period. Macario Pineda, he wrote Dinto na Makiling in 1946. Stephen Davila, he published his work Without Seeing the Dawn, which is about his experience during the World War II. And W.M. Gonzalez, he published his work A Season of Peace. The Rebirth of Freedom, 1946 to 1970. Freedom at last. Filipino had by the time learned to express themselves more confidently about post-war problems beyond language and print life, economic stability, the threat of new ideas, mortality, are grappled with side by side.
period of activism 1970 to 1972, because of the ills of society, the youth moved to seek reform. It was also during this period that the Bomba film Discredit Our Ways as Filipinos started to come out. Period of the New Society 1972 to 1980. Almost all themes in news writing dealt with development of progress of the country. The weekly publication like Kislap and Liwayway helped a lot in the development of literature. This became outlets for our writers to publish many of their works. The Third Republic, when we were freed from the military rule, poems during the period were romantic and revolutionary. Writers wrote openly of their criticism against the government.
The flowering of people's literature in various languages continued, especially with the appearance of new publications after martial law years, and the resurgence of committed literature in 1960s and 1970s. Filipino writers still continue to write short stories, poems, essays, novels, whether these are socially committed, general, ethnic, related, and personal intentions.
International PEN is an international organization of writers. It is first founded in London in 1921 by John Galsworth. PEN is an acronym standing for letter P, poets, letter E, essays, and lastly letter N, novelists.
The Treaty of Paris had made a big impact to the Philippines because in the first place, it ended the very long colonization of the Spaniards for more than 300 years and also marks the start of the American colonization. So there were 600 American teachers or Thomasites who came to the Philippines, specifically 346 men and 180 women. I think it made a big change in the history of the Philippines because as we know, through the American colonization, it opens the way to influence the educational system and political system of the Philippines.
Hello everyone, good afternoon. This is teacher Johanna, former advisor for grade 9 students. And I was actually chosen by Precious Andrea Caballard to discuss to her a few things about the Treaty of Paris and, how did it affected the Philippines. So, well, for the first question, I was just provided with the 3 questions generally. And the first question is, how did the Treaty of Paris affect the Philippines? Well, under my research and to the best of the knowledge that I have here, in the Treaty of Paris or under the Treaty of Paris, Spain had agreed to sell the Philippines to the United States for the total amount of $20 million, and in return, the Philippines would become a colony of United States of America. Filipinos had not been consulted about this, and the signing of the Treaty of Paris had actually sparked like a resentment among the Filipino people, as it actually marked a switch from Spanish to American colonial rule, contradicting to the aspirations of many Filipinos before for self-governance. So we had been wishing, we have been under the control of Spanish for 333 years. So it is really like a dream for the Filipino, especially for those who are wishing to have a self-governance. I know that, a lot of you or most of the students, somehow know how difficult life is when we were being in control of Spanish. So a lot of Filipinos are actually aspiring for self-governance. However, it did not happen under the Treaty of Paris. There's just a switch from Spanish to American colonial rule. And as a result, the war for independence turned against the United States of America. And for the second question, we have, what is the significance of the Treaty of Paris in the history of the Philippines? So the Treaty of Paris was signed on the 10th of December 1898, and it was a peace agreement between the Spain and the United States that ended the Spanish-American War. It has a great significance, of course, to the Philippines, since for just like what I said earlier, for 333 years, Philippines had been under the control of Spanish colonialization. And because of the agreement, the Philippines had gained freedom from Spain. And many Filipino believe it was the end and Philippines will be set free back then, but it's not. Just like what was mentioned earlier, the control was just transferred to the United States. And just like that, that's actually the start of another battle, of another fight for the freedom of the Philippines from the hands of United States. It is a fight between American forces and Filipino nationalists that is led by Emilio Aguinaldo, who sought independence for the Philippines rather than colonial rule. Well, of course, everyone does wanted a freedom, and we wanted to rule our own land. That's very natural. And the Philippine American War actually started on the 2nd of June 1899 up to the 4th of July of 1902. So basically, it lasted for 3 years, 1 month, and 2 days exactly. It is the Philippine American War that indeed created significant distress and loss in the land of the Philippines. Though of course there are also good sides when it comes to this change, because it also had like especially for the educational system for the Philippines. Well, you all know that American had sent Western teachers, the Thomasites, and that's actually the third question. How many Thomasites were there in the Philippines? So in the purpose of establishing an educational system in the Philippines, Thomasites were sent to the Philippines. Thomasites were named after the ship that transported them, and that's the United States Army Transport Thomas. About 600 Thomasites embarked on the journey to the Philippines, both men and women from all across the country, and all with different educational background. Some applied for the job while others were asked to attend or to join. Okay, some were world-renowned professors at the high-ranking universities back then, looking for a challenge and an adventure. So Thomasites were chosen from different sites of different states in United States. So some are high-rank professors from high-rank universities who are just looking for change, challenge, and adventure. Others were just looking for employment. And yet everyone were actually excited to be part of this developing project in the Philippines. Some Thomasites even keep detailing their activities, or their daily diaries about their enthusiasm and what are the things that they are doing to contribute to this purpose of establishing educational system in the Philippines. So basically, on my end, of course, everyone does. Well, who of you here doesn't really, doesn't want a freedom, doesn't want democracy, doesn't want to have a self-governance. Well, of course, each of us, everyone is actually wanting to have our own government, our own rule. We all wanted to have freedom from everyone, and we really don't want to be colonized by everyone. And thanks to those people who actually fight for it. The Treaty of Paris has a great impact to the Philippines, since it ended, literally ended the colonialization of Spaniards to the Philippines. If not by it, maybe, I don't know, because they had lasted for 333 years in the Philippines. So basically, there's a lot of the traditions, cultures that we are still following nowadays that are really come from Spain. Even the language that we're using, majority of those are from Spain, and we are not, like, that's natural because of course we had been under their control for very long years, and thanks to this kinds of agreement that it actually helped us to get rid of that colonialization. Just like what I said earlier, the Philippine American War had just ended for 3 years. So after that, there's a lot of changes again to the Philippines, and well, I will no longer discuss about those. But for you students who can watch these videos, should I say, or the other videos that will be presented to you, learn to appreciate the history, even if there are, some of you who might say it's already history. It will no longer change anything, but it is still very important to appreciate and learn those histories, because it has a great impact to what we are living today, to what kind of the Philippines we are living today. Of course, with the freedom that we are enjoying. So that's it. And thank you so much for watching this video, and have a great day to all of you. Goodbye.